Hello everyone, solving simple radical equations. How can we solve radical equations? For example, radical x plus 1 equals 2. How can we find the value of x? By squaring the both sides. We will get x plus 1 equals the square of 2, it will be 4. This is the equation from the first degree in one variable. Just move 1 to the other side to be subtracted. We will get x equals 4 minus 1. 4 minus 1 equals 3. How to check your answer? Just take x equals 3 and put x here equals 3. Then 3 plus 1 equals 4. Radical 4 equals what? Equals 2. Then left hand side equals right hand side. Another example, for radical 3x equals to radical 6. How can we find the value of x? By squaring both sides. We will get here 4 square, it will be 16 times 3x equals 4, the square of 2, it will be 4, and the square of root 6, it will be 6. We will get here 16 times 3, it will be 48. 48x equals 24. To find the value of x, just divide both sides by 48. We will get x equals 1/2. You can check your answer. Just put x equals 1/2 here and find the value of the left hand side. 3 times 1/2, it will be 3 over 2. Then we have here 4 outside. We can put 4 inside the root. It will be 16 times 3 over 2. It will be 2 square root of 6. Another example, x equals radical 40 minus 3x. Square both sides. We will get here quadratic equations. Why? Because we have here x. The square of x, it will be x squared equals the square of this radical. It will be the number or the expression inside the root. It will be 40 minus 3x. To solve this equation, just put it in the standard form. Move 40 to the other side to be subtracted and move negative 3x to be added. We will get the equation x squared plus 3x minus 40 equals 0. How can we solve this equation? By factoring. We will factor x as x times x and negative 40. It will be 8 times here negative 5. 8 times negative 5, it will be negative 40, and here the difference between them, it will be 3, the middle term. We can equate the expression x minus 5 equals 0, then x equals 5, and x plus 8 equals 0, then x equals negative 8. But x equals negative 8, it's refused value. Why? Because if we put here x equals negative 8, so it will be 40 minus 3 times negative 8, it will be 40 plus 24, and 40 plus 24, the square root, it doesn't equal here negative 8 because it's a square root, it's radical, it must be positive value. But when x equals 5, when here x equals 5, 40 minus 3 times 5, it will be 15. Now the square root of 40 minus 15, it will be 25. The square root of 25, it will be 5. Then x equals 5, it's acceptable. But x equals negative 8, it will be refused. So don't forget to check your answer after find the value of the variable x. Solve for x. X radical x equals radical 216. How can we find the value of x here? Square both sides. We will get x squared dot x equals 216. X squared dot x, it will be x cubed equals 216. To find the value of x here, just we will find the cube root of both sides. We will get x equals 6 because the cube root of 216 equals 6. Then the value of x equals 6. Next, solve for x. 2 radical x plus 2 equals 3 root 2. To find the value of x here, square both sides. We will get 2 times x plus 2. It will be square of 3. It will be 9 times 2. We will use here distributive property to simplify this equation. Just 4 times x and 4 times 2. We will get 4x plus 8 equals 9 times 2 equals 18. How can we solve this equation? By subtracting 8 from both sides, we will get 4x equals 18 minus 8, it will be 10. Dividing both sides by 4, then x equals 10 over 4. Put the fraction in the simplest form, dividing by 2, we will get here x equals 5 over 2. We can write it as 2.5. This is the value of x. Solve for x. Radical x plus 2 equals radical 3x minus 1. Next, radical x plus 2 equals x. And we have here finally x minus 5 equals radical x plus 1. And number 1, radical x plus 2 equals radical 3x minus 1. Just square both sides. We will get here the expression inside the radical or inside the square root. We will get here x plus 2 equals 3x minus 1. We will simplify this equation. We will move x to the other side to be subtracted and move negative 1 to the other side to be added. We will get here 3x minus x equals 2 plus 1. 3x minus x, it will be 2x equals 1 plus 2 equals 3. Dividing both sides by the coefficient of x, it will be 2. Then x equals 3 divided by 2. We can write it as x equals 1.5. Next, square both sides by the same way. We will get x plus 2 equals x squared. This is a quadratic function or quadratic equation. Just we will simplify or put it in the standard form to solve it. We will get x squared minus x minus 2 equals 0. By factoring, we will get here x squared x times x, and 2, it will be 2 times 1. Then the last term is negative. Then the big number takes the sign of the middle term. So 2 will be negative and 1, it will be positive. We will find the value of x. Just we will equate the first expression, x minus 2 equals 0. We will deduce that x equals 2. And x plus 1 equals 0. We will deduce here that x equals negative 1. And x equals negative 1 is refused. Why? Because if we cancel x and write negative 1 here, it will be negative 1 plus 2 equals 1. The square root of 1 equals what? Equals 1. But here x equals negative 1. So the left hand side is not equal the right hand side. So the value of x, it will be 2. Solve for x. X minus 5 equals radical x plus 1. Square both sides. We will get here x minus 5 equals radical x plus 1. We will get here square x minus 5. Just we will simplify this bracket. We will deduce that x squared minus 2 times x times negative 5, it will be negative 5x. Pay attention here. How can we simplify this bracket or this expression? Just we will square the first term. Square of x, it will be x squared. How can we find the middle? 2 times the first times the second, it will be 2 times x times negative 5, it will be negative 10x, plus the square of the second, it will be 25, equals x plus 1. Simplify this equation. We will deduce that x squared minus 11x plus 24 equals 0. By factoring the left hand side, we will get x squared x times x, and 24 it will be negative 3 times negative 8. We will get here that x minus 3 equals 0, then x equals 3, and x minus 8 equals 0, then x equals 8. But if we check your answer here, then x equals 3. When you put x equals 3 here, 3 minus 5, it will be negative 2, but this is radical. The value must be positive, so x equals 3, it's refused. But x equals 8, it will be acceptable. Why? Because when we put here just a substitute 8 for x, it will be 8 minus 5, it will be 3. And radical 8 plus 1, it will be radical 9, it will be 3. So the left hand side equals the right hand side. So the value of x, it will be here just 8, and x equals 3, it's refused. Thank you for watching. See you soon, guys.